It's so small.
Yeah. Um, so it started up here somewhere. It looks so deranged. Oh my gosh. Um, right, I was somewhere around here
Yes.
where I was looking at the death right birds. I was looking at Ra. I was looking at the shamans.
Okay.
I love this guy's face. um, okay, so I guess we could start here maybe. In the ancestral spirit worshipping faith, these are considered envoys' wings, made to reap the lives of beings which experience no sprouting.
Okay.
I think that's this item. The idea being that um, the deaf birds, right? The twin bird is said to be an envoy of an outer god, the mother of the deaf birds, which comes from the twin bird shield,
Yes.
right?
Let me
Um,
look up what envoy means again.
it means like divine messenger, I think, because it's interesting where on envoy comes up in other places because Enya says the fingers are envoys of the greater will.
Envoy, one dispatched upon an errand or mission. A messenger, especially a person deputed by a sovereign or government to negotiate a treaty or transact other business with a foreign sovereign or government. Minister accredited to a foreign government. An envoy's rank is below that of an ambassador. Or representative.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we have those things of envoys. We also have the oracle envoys
Yeah.
and their bubbles,
Yes.
which I realized the claymen, the ancient claymen from the ancient dynasty,
Yes.
the ancient the ancient dynasty, oop, the ancient dynasty, the claymen who were looking for an oracular vision, and these guys are oracle envoys who also use bubbles.
So the secret's in the bubble.
Oh, and then the
I
horn
like I like
scent
how you
of
have the fat horns in
I
there.
really I mean there's some similarities there.
No, you know what's funny about the fat horn scent?
What is it?
None of that is empty space.
Oh goodness.
Hang on. I'll pull up a picture of it. Feel free to keep going. I have your stream open on sorry on half of my screen right now.
Mm. Okay, yeah. So we have more mentions of this. According to pagan belief, white winged maidens are said to be death's gentle envoys. And we have this from the DLC. A talisman fashioned from thin feathers that embody aspects of various creatures said to have grown on the human body long ago.
Yeah, which we know
Hornsent view
because
the crucible as sacred for the refinement wrought through its evolutionary gifts, most prominently tangled horns. We have this here from the Death Spirit. The priests became guardians of the birds through the rite of death, which also serves as an oath sworn to their distant resurrection. Um,
yeah,
while all this is going on with the deaf birds, we know there was no Erdtree.
yeah.
Yeah, Dev was burning
because it was
ghost
all the
flame
crucible.
when there was no Erdtree. That's the part that I've done all this and I feel like I don't understand the Crucible anymore. Oh my goodness, that guy's crazy looking.
That's what the model looks like without the robes. You may not like it, but this is peak performance.
Yeah, yeah. So we know the Crucible is the primordial form of the Erdtree.
Yes.
So I guess it's this. I don't know if this means no Erdtree at all, even no Crucible, or if this is just in the time of the Crucible.
That just means there was no Erdtree, so the Crucible was still around. The Crucible is primordial, literally existing since the beginning. It's called the Primordial Crucible.
Okay, then we have right. We have these guys. They're not deaf birds. They're like sculpted, but they have the ghost flame colors, and then some of them have purple and
Yeah.
the gray violet, the hue of ghost flame. It seems like at one point it was purple and then became the white and black that we know of.
Yeah, I don't get that quite, but I do, in case you want extra information on that, there is an enemy in the DLC who uses Ghost Flame in its true hue.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's the Putrescence Knight.
Oh, wait a
The
minute.
Putrescent Knight, I want to find the exact wording to make sure I'm not just stupid. Yeah, Vortex of Putrescence launches a whirl of putrescent jets that explode after a short delay and impact after shortly after impact and bathe the area in ghost flame.
Mm, I guess it's just that it looks so white and blue, and these violets are very violet.
Yeah, the fire that the putrescence knight uses is like a deep, rich blue, almost purple. But I don't know why. I don't know why the hue of ghost flame changed.
This part's just like unrelated, but I was just looking at they had the purple jewel, the god skin, and their black and white flame. It's possible maybe they were purple before, but I guess that doesn't really matter as much. Um,
Still interesting.
yeah, and we have over here we have the Glowmite Queen sword in its spiral. Very
Yeah,
stunning.
actually, yeah, that's a great point. The fact that that sword spirals like that, that really makes you feel like the Glowmite Queen was heavily involved with the horn scent, probably.
Yeah, and then the primordial form of the Erdtree. I mean, not the Elden Ring, right? In Fair Missoula, it has a
Yeah.
it has a spiral within it, and Elden Stars has a spiral. And of course, we know Spyra has a spiral. The Comet Shard, the Staff of the Great Beyond. Um, I thought it might have said something about the spiral, but they do twist on each other.
Yeah.
Um, we have like
You know,
statues of spiraling
yeah, they have
horns.
statues with horn. Who do you think is in that statue?
I don't know, but it definitely seems, reminiscent of the kind of Lord and God relationships, the the two together.
It reminds me a little bit of the statues we see in the Erdtree, Nicola and Melania.
Mm, yeah. Um, so I did find this in Enter Ilum, which
Growth.
it looks like a spiral tree, and we have these things of people statues underneath spiral trees growing. And there's this other one where there's I don't know what happened to this guy's head. It might just be horn scent. Um, Here, let's go. Let's go up to the ancestors real quick before we get away from it. So, sprouting, buds, sprouting. These are all ancestral spirit things, but I thought the horns with buds right because the ancient ruins of Ra, which is very ancestor spirit, has the Church of the Bud, horns with buds, sproutings, life sprouts from death, right? And
Isn't the
ancestors.
Church of the Bud named after Ramana, saint of the bud?
I'm not sure about that because we know Ramana. So I guess
Oh,
it's.
you're going mega robot mode.
Oh no, not the Mega Roll.
Oh, it's like bad actually.
Hello, hello,
Oh,
hello.
it sounds better.
Hooray.
You were completely incomprehensible for everything you just said.
Sorry, I had to reboot myself. So, Ramana. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything that says if that church was a bud church before the crusade and Ramana became a Scarlet Rot person or not.
Yeah.
But what I do know is that where did I put it? Right, we have a sacred cloister in the ancient ruins that have the same architecture as Ra, and the grand cloister here has also been overcome with rot. Right, where there's all the just before you go to Estelle, when there's all the shrimp guys.
Yeah. That's where the sealed god of outer rot is. Pretty sure,
Mm,
right? Or the sealed outer god of rot.
yeah, it seems so. Um, Whoa. But so one thing I found interesting is I forgot what item this was, the one that raises immunity, but the main game version said to be a budding horn. A long-lived bees continue to bud like antlers over and over again until a beast becomes an ancestral spirit, right? So these
Yes.
these these are continue to bud over and over again. And then the plus do variant from the horn scent talks about horn scent believing they're chosen people, but of fresh horns, which can create a tangled horn, right? So there isn't any fresh buds on guys like this and the horn scent people themselves. They're all individual from the body, but they can become,
Yes.
tangled in on themselves, like their sacred helix can, or double helix spiral. Though I'm not sure about on the back here what these are, if those are single fresh horns or not on the ancestor spirit.
Yeah.
Right. So that seems to be a key distinction between the horn scent and the ancestor follower culture. Is they're all about buds on existing horns, and the horn scent are
Single fresh horns,
that can be tangled.
which
Yeah.
entwine. Yeah.
Um. Let's see. Is there anything up here? Oh yeah, because look. So most of the horn scent are like, the single fresh horns, but these two guys on the big staircase have these giant antlers that bud off each other. So I'm not sure what's going on here. I tried to do research on these guys, but for some reason, I guess it's just the wiki. It's a lot of stuff to chronologue, and it's only been however many weeks, and there's not really any information. Somewhere called these guys shamans, but I cannot find anything textually supporting that at all.
I
So
don't think
just have to wait.
I don't think they drop anything,
No.
which makes it hard to learn anything about them.
Mm-hmm. I guess one quick thing over here to, I guess, keep in mind is, the idea that America's age of the Erdtree at its peak was a fleeting moment, right?
Mhm.
And that I never realized that the Erdtree avatars only emerged for the minor Erdtrees. Which, if
Yeah,
if our if our idea that the shattering has been going on longer than just extremely recent history, this would make a lot of sense.
the shattering happened an age ago.
Mm-hmm.
In an interview, George R. R. Martin even said he was hired to write what happened 500 years ago.
Oh wow. Yeah. So it's been going on like this for a while. I wonder, in comparison, like America's Age of Abundance might have been really short compared to all the shattering stuff that has happened.
America's Age of Abundance. Yeah, I mean, for all we know, it was like a decade
Yeah.
and then 500 years of shattering.
um,
Yeah, that's the other thing I wanted to talk about. The Empyrean Grandam.
yeah.
Grandam meaning grandmother.
I've seen people refer to this as she's not an Empyrean herself, but she's like a grandmother to the Empyreans.
That's what I'm saying. Is she America's grandmother?
Yeah. I don't know if this is supposed to be literal lineage or um like a title, like a guiding person, right? Because she does apologize to the grandmother. But I think in game it's translated as the grandmother instead of granddam. But it's totally possible that it could be her.
Who apologizes to the grandmother?
When Marika abandons her golden lock at the tree in the shaman village, it is interesting that the period grandam summons a spirit, though, right? And the shamans are all about spirit summoning,
Yeah.
or at least connected to the spirits, not necessarily summoning, I guess. Um, and then confirmation here that Glomite Queen was an Empyrean chosen by the Fingers. Um,
What isn't Grandam? I wonder if her dialogue's on the wiki. Oh, it is. Hang on. Have my son accompany thee to war before she gives you that incantation.
mm,
And there's one other guy we know that summons spirits related to his family.
Gary.
It's Gary. It's literally Gary.
The most important character all along. Necromancer Garrus.
The anguish of a spouse and children invites a cursed wrath.
And he's like wearing Gowry's outfit. He wields the Prince of Death's staff.
Yeah, he's heavily associated with death sorcery and spirits. It's possible he was even a shaman.
Yeah.
He even looks like a Newman if you look at him.
Yeah. Gosh, this is interesting. And he's got two lions on his flail.
Yeah.
What the heck? Is Gary like extremely important to this whole thing?
Gary was the missing piece all along.
Oh my gosh.
How could we have ever solved? Nobody's looking at Gary. That's the problem.
That's the problem.
Everybody's like, oh, Crucible this and Crucible that. It was Gary.
Yeah. Um, thing of here. I guess just like a connection here. The twin bird, envoy of an outer god, mother of deathrite birds, and there's two. There's a twin bird. There's two of them. Meter, daughter of the greater will, mother of two finger envoys. Two mother envoy. I don't
Two,
know.
mother, mother, two,
Two.
two,
I don't know.
mother, mother, two.
I'm just the noticer.
Count them. Two.
Pattern seeking, pattern seeking. Okay, this is, I guess, where things get a little tenuous here and confusing.
Don't worry, I will rip apart your points if they make no sense.
Thank goodness. What is this thing? I have it like it's so this like so spread out. This red dotted line. What is this? Okay, life sprouts from death. Okay, such is the way of living.
Okay, here we go.
Go all the way down to Ordovis's great sword. He's a crucible knight. This sword is imbued with the ancient holy essence. Its red tint exemplifies the nature of primordial gold, said to be close in nature to life itself. Speculation. Red tint,
Speculation.
primordial gold when destined death was still within the Elden Ring? Hmm. Yeah, this seems like speculation, but death being a part of life itself. Both close
Okay,
to
hear me out. Go
having
back up.
rot.
Wait. This might actually be big.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on, I can feel my synapses firing. Give me a second. I was just looking at something about this.
And a fair from which gold arose.
Okay, what if gold is less literally gold and more like grace?
Mm.
Okay, hear me out. Feel free to write this down if you want.
Okay.
Placidusax controls primeval lightning. Primeval lightning from ancient dragons is red. Primeval gold, primordial gold is red tinted. The worship of ancient dragons does not conflict with the belief in the Erdtree. After all, this seal and lightning itself are both imbued with gold from the Gravelstone seal. Hypothetically, what if primordial gold simply means the red lightning that the dragons used that was infused with grace
Mm.
when the Greater Will was using them as its vassals?
Yeah. That wow. Yeah.
Because we know the beastmen hold it in reverence. That's why the priests all use red lightning. Their seals and everything. And yeah, it calls it primeval lightning when Placidusax uses it.
Mm, yeah. Let's go over here then.
So maybe instead of actual gold, like the
Mm-hmm.
mineral, it means more like grace.
Yeah. Okay. So we have Placidusax,
Yes.
Placidusax, um,
Lackey.
Placky. This is a mess. Where do I even? So start at the top. Okay. Old Lord's Talisman. Set what we know. Ancient King. Heart of the Storm Beyond Time. Royal City of Fair Missoula. Elden Lord in the Age Before the Erdtree.
Yes.
Okay.
In the Crucible
Pre
Age.
pre Erdtree. Placidusax is Lord. Okay. We have the Beastmen. They were chosen. Their weapons are clad in lightning. There's beast clergymen, and in Fair Missoula, they're depicted next to the ancient dragons in statue.
Yes.
Um, and it was said before the Erdtree, stones were a sign of beasts who would gain intelligence, along with the Sincandia. Okay, and so
Yes.
that's what we know from the base game, and then this was me trying to reconcile this information with Beast and Storm information from the DLC, right? So, divine beasts are messengers of the heavens. Okay. And their rage mirrors the tumult of the skies, of which storms are the pinnacle. Storms? Storms?
Fair Missoula is literally an infinite storm.
Yeah. Um, we'll do the bird later. Okay, so yeah, we have horned warriors. These guys.
Yes.
Um,
But the ones that wear the lion hats for that armor, so
yeah. So it's the horned warriors chosen to become the divine beast warriors. So they go from being horned to divine beast warriors, and the really great ones become sculpted keepers if they're good
yes.
at divine invocation. Um, divine invocation, invoking divinity, and divine invocation bolsters the strength of the wearer, but causes the blessing of the Erdtree to become nauseating.
Yes.
Yes.
Because the Erdtree is completely antithetical to the Horn Sense beliefs. It doesn't spiral
Mm-hmm.
in any way, and it doesn't have any new growth. It's considered like the one.
Yeah. Supposed to be. Oh dear. Supposed to be perfect and eternal.
Yes.
um, Okay, so we have up here, we have the Birdman. Spirit of the divine bird warrior, from whom the horned warriors claim descent. Granted wings and feathers by divine invocation. This guy tamed the divine bird. So, I don't know who the divine bird is, obviously. Um, but the divine birds were the very first of all horned warriors. The divine bird warriors. Um, and they're said to bear resemblance to the golden crucible. So these are just guesses. Maybe the divine bird has a relation to the outer god of the twin birds and the deaf-right birds. Maybe it has some connection to the Stormhawk King, the ancient monarch. Stormvale's winds. It's
Yeah,
almost like
maybe.
a storm. There are hawks around Fair Missoula, and we
Yeah,
know.
there are a lot of Stormhawks in Fair Missoula.
Mm, At some point, Farum Azula was in the lands between before the sword comet hit it.
Yeah.
Um,
If we consider that it might have been near where Garonk's house is, it actually is pretty close to Limgrave.
yeah. Um, so here's more speculation and guesses. Right, so it's talking about divine beasts or messengers, and messengers is similar to envoys of the heavens, which are like the stormy skies. Is it possible, the beast attendants and the dragons were connected like that? Or is it even possible that, right, divine beasts are messengers from the heavens? Elden beast, it's like a holy beast, a divine beast who's a vassal of the Elden Ring? Possibly similar.
Um,
It is a beast, even though it's not a
well,
lion
divine
beast.
beasts are beasts chosen by greater will, I think,
Mm.
because Malekith is a divine beast, and even Blythe is considered a divine beast.
Mm. Yeah. So, so I guess the last thing here is, just getting this idea of like, maybe it's like the crucible as the base primordial form of life. I don't know if this makes any sense, but the ideas of the horn scent where they want like out of the mess of horns for it to eventually spiral and tangle and go to the gods. It's almost like the spiral came down to the lands between, but if we take it from the roots and go up to divinity, I don't know. With their trees and their, I don't know what the heck is the symbol by the divine gate. Um, and then the last thing was I was trying my whole. I'm clinging so heavily to like the deciduous versus coniferous multiple tree thing. So I went I went through all the regions, right, and it was chronologing which ones were deciduous and which ones were hardwood. So every tree in Limgrave is deciduous. Every tree in Caelid is deciduous. In Altus Plateau, most of them are deciduous, but there's a few, as we can see here, coniferous pine trees, but they were all like in bad shape. Like a lot of them didn't have pine needles, and some only had about half pine needles. Interestingly, in Liurnia, the ancient ruins of Ol, I think, had pine trees. Um, and then in the snow areas, the mountaintops, the wait,
Spirit trees are
there's
all
like
pine trees.
there's these tangled things all over, which are kind of undiscernible. I guess they could almost be like crucible trees. I guess maybe, but yeah, all the other trees are all spirit trees, and they're all pine trees. Which again, the pine trees are like old trees, and deciduous trees are newer in world history for development. These are simpler and these are more complex trees. So I went down here and walked around Lanedell, right? And there's a bunch of these deciduous style beech trees around in various spots. Um, Here's a beech tree. Here's a beech tree seed. Here's a Elden Ring seed. Oh, I forgot to put a picture in. Real quick. Okay, here's what a beech tree can often look like. People carving remembrances into the tree, hewn.
Yeah.
Um, and then so there's these depictions of like and then these are what I always thought were the pine tree style trees, because like if you look at the way these look, right, and then you look at the way these look right there, and then like here, right, but then this caught my attention, was the Lanedale soldiers were wearing the same tree as that were on these all old stone things, and Lanedale had them up, and the Round Table Hold had them up.
Yeah.
Um, they're all over Stormvale. Um, and I went and looked, and the surcoat bears a majestic likeness. Oh goodness, a majestic likeness of the Erdtree. Its golden backing is an honor bestowed on no other soldiers. So I think it really is. These are just Erdtree depictions, even though they're very different from the ones in major spots in Lanedale.
Yeah.
Even though
I think they're
they're so
just thinner
thin.
to fit on banners and whatnot.
Yeah, they might just be a simplified artistic design and not supposed to represent a different style of tree.
Or potentially they were made in the time before the Erd tree was fully grown. And that's genuinely what it looked like
Oh yeah,
before it
that could
spread
also be
out.
true. Yeah, ancient tree. This is a church in Lower Lanedale where there's a bunch of, if you remember, these leaden windows
Yeah.
that are from the Knox Society. I saw theories that this was like an original church of when the Erdtree worship started, and it was like a secret faith, and this is like one of the first depictions of the Erdtree when the Knox and their moon were in power, possibly. But I'm not so sure about that.
That doesn't line up with my timeline, but I guess it could have happened.
And then I guess the last thing here is, right, I've talked about this guy a lot, which is in my head I keep trying to reconcile this, wanting this to be what the Crucible is, right? Because it has this like stump that it was once a tree, and then there's all these different sprouts, and everything opposed to one another, and eventually one will take over and become the main branch with all of the rest gone away, right? And I found out there's actually three different depictions of this statue of the guy in the center of this. There's the one in Altus Plateau that has all the different branches, and at the bottom there is the full deciduous tree,
Erd tree.
tree. Um,
Yeah.
there's the one that's in Round Table Hold, both in the spirit world and the in Lanedale today, and it has this quad foil design, which is in several other places, including like the Church of Vows
Yeah.
and some Divine Bridges, I think.
And it has a
And
shield in the middle.
oh yeah, yeah, you're right. And
Yeah.
then there's this one, which is in a few places, that has a lion on it. And the difference between these two is this one, the branch goes up, and I couldn't fit it in the picture, but it has a golden flower on it. And then this one, it is not a golden flower. But yeah, there's the quad foil again.
Yeah.
And then
Wouldn't
this
surprise me if that was some form of symbol for Godfrey.
yeah, that would make sense. Um, here's like one. Here's a skinny tree with the always Erdtree spear statues. I think this was near a lift, maybe.
That looks like a lift.
Yeah.
Wait, go back to the. Hang on.
Mm-hmm.
Go back to the quad foil.
This one here.
Yeah.
This comes up in like the Church of Vows. It comes up in the in Manicelis. It comes up on the Divine Bridges.
No, go to the other one, the one in Stormvale. I doubt this is anything, but here's a close-up picture of Matter's eye
Oh,
from Bonfire VN.
oh my gosh! I didn't know she had an eye.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
right in the middle of the finger.
Oh my
There's
gosh.
this one eye with these four pupils.
That's actually that could be something like really crazy that they would just hide like that. I mean, we know how important eyes are.
Yeah,
Um, okay, yeah, that could definitely be something for sure. Especially with this symbol appearing a lot in like the Manicelis Cathedral, and that being
yeah.
meaning divine hand. Yeah, that could be some serious stuff right there. Um, yeah, I guess that's my. This is what I spent today doing. After being busy all day yesterday, I did all this stuff. Did I point this out in Inner Ilum? There was this little thing here, just on a, which kind of looks like the twin birds. If you can see it here,
Yeah.
those, and then these guys, and then the Fair Missoula depiction.
Two birds seem to come up a lot
Yeah,
because
this was also at the base of America's statue in Lanedale, the one that turns from Radagon into America. It looks kind of like lines facing each other, and then these two heads look like the two animals that are on the boat. Not these, but I don't think I have a picture of it. The other boat in Inner Ilum. I don't think I have a picture of it anywhere. So it feels like there's some kind of symbolism going on here, but I couldn't make anything out. And then there's one final incredibly major thing that I found.
wait, wait 1 second before we move on from the
Okay.
birds.
Oh, the cuckoo.
Yeah,
Right.
and if you look at the moon of Noxtella, can see them at the top of it.
Oh, yeah.
The two cuckoos peering into the massive glintstone that may have represented Nox's black moon.
Yeah. This seems like really is like the twin bird society was all over the place.
There's a lot of imagery of it, yeah, but there's no like spelling out of it anywhere.
Yeah. I guess it really just might be America trying to hide it as much as possible. And
Or it's
maybe.
just so old that it's faded out
Mm-hmm.
of relevance.
Yeah. Is is there any reference to, because Radagon allied with the Carians, but the Carians are not friends with the Cuckoo, so it's quite possible the Erdtree wouldn't align with the Cuckoo because they still were associated with the Death Birds.
How are the cuckoo associated with the deathbirds?
Well, they're at least associated with some kind of twin bird.
The cuckoo knights, from what I understand, were basically just mercenaries. Rhea Lucaria Academy soldiers. Oh yeah, the cuckoo were like other they were like the body of Rhea Lucaria, basically, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Carians sort of like usurped them. Or the other way around. The Carians founded Rhea Lucaria.
Oh yeah, the Carians founded
And
Rey
then
Lucaria. I just heard Muriel say this, and then when Radagon left Renala and her heart was broken, they locked her up in the library and then took
yeah,
over Rhea Lucaria, the Cuckoo did.
yeah. But the cuckoo were like mercenaries, basically, I think. Sort of. For the Carians at least.
Mm.
Because like they're stupid. They can't actually do any sorcery. That's why they use cuckoo glintstones.
Yeah.
Um, and yet they got kicked out because they had this. They I think they tried attacking Carria Manor, and then like halfway through the assault, all the people that they had lost started getting up because Celavis or Pydia, whichever one you would think, was turning them into puppets as they died.
Mm.
So they just got completely like dogged on
Mm-hmm.
in Carria Manor, and
Yeah.
now they guard it. They guard the same place that they tried to raid.
We also have two lions outside the Mogwin dynasty, or at least what look like some kind of lion
Those
dog
are
thing.
dogs.
um, oh, trees. Okay, yeah. So one last thing.
Okay.
I was looking around the round table hold and found something I'd never seen before. And I have no idea what it's doing in the round table hold or what it represents at all.
Oh my gosh.
But there's like a winged demon tapestry in the place where you fight uh, the Mad Tongue, Ulbrich. What the heck is this?
What what am I looking at?
Can you see it at all? It's kind of dark.
Is it possible? I mean, let's see. It's got two back feet. It's got two front feet. It's got two wings. Could in some way represent ancient dragons having four legs, but the only thing is ancient dragons have two sets of wings.
Mm.
It could represent Baal, because I think Baal had four legs before Placidusax like tore two and a half of them off.
Oh yeah. This could be like when adventurers came back from various places and monks tried to write what they were describing to them, and this is some adventurers describing a dragon that they saw.
Yeah, this is some Dragon Communion Knights coming back. The war that was one other thing I wanted to mention.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we know Placidusax was in power before Godfrey,
Yes.
but we don't know when Farum Azula got launched off the continent or
Yes.
anything. At some point, and I don't know when, before the shattering, way pre-shattering,
Mm-hmm.
presumably. Why did the largest ancient dragon in existence decide to attack Lando?
Yeah. What was Grand Sax doing?
I'm wondering if when Farum Azula got knocked off the continent, the ancient dragons like lost losing their lord and everything, lashed out, and Grand Sex tried to attack the capital and usurp America in some
Mm-hmm.
way, and it failed, obviously, but it was a war neither side could win,
Mm.
so they just buddied up, made the ancient dragon cult
Yeah.
with Lanciax talking to Vike and whatnot. But yeah, it was after Lando was completed, for sure, because it Grand Sex's bolt says it's the only time in recorded history Landale's walls have ever fallen.
Mm.
And it also says that Godwin is the one that killed Grand Sex at some point. Or it's heavily implied, if not explicitly stated, that Godwin is the one that slew Grand Sex and saved the capital.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy how much like stuff is packed in there, right? Because there's all the prehistory of pre-America, horn scent, deaf right birds, all this culture, and then there's the transition to Godfrey in America, and then like there's all the Dragon Wars and the two Liurnia Wars and the Giant War and the it's crazy.
It's interesting to me, like the pipeline of the Horn Center, all faith. The America and Godfrey's age was all faith in the Crucible and in the Erdtree.
Mm-hmm.
And then as the Erdtree started to dull, America and Radagon began diving below their faith and exploring it with intelligence as well.
Mm.
It's interesting to me how that works. Because then you have Ymir, who's like pure intelligence and has no, it's almost like, I mean, it's kind of like the Age of Enlightenment in a way, where you have hyper religious civilizations built up around their gods and their culture, and then the Age of Enlightenment hits, and it changes from simply belief to delving into the systems of the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And all the eschewing of what was previously considered divine, like I can't I didn't note it down, but like the things noting that the Crucible Knights were no longer needed because of their animal tendencies or something, or they're like they were called chaotic, I think, in some ways.
It became a distaste with the Crucible. Godfrey being it was beneficial to accept the Crucible for what it was when Godfrey is winning all your wars. But as soon as your wars are won, you kick the Crucible out because it's what the people who massacred your people worshipped.
Yeah, well, thanks for.
Godfrey was, I'm pretty sure, even in the beginning, Godfrey was a pawn for America. I'm pretty sure she specifically seeked out the strongest warrior in the Badlands
Yeah.
and was like, I need a bouncer to win all my wars for me.
Yeah.
And then he did it. And she was like, thank you. Bye. I'll call you later.
Now that I have
And,
control, I'm gonna be both Lord and God.
yeah. And then she did actually call him later. So, you know. Dang.
Yeah. I do wonder, like, if Godfrey had somehow in canon like beaten the young tarnished of no renown, if Godfrey really would have been the taken over and so forth.
I think Godfrey probably, if anyone could have done it, it was Godfrey. I mean, from the sounds of it, he was basically dunking on fire giants left and right. And even Alexander, after you beat the fire giant, says that thing was basically a god.
I do wonder what if Godfrey took over again, what his next age would look like, because his first age was just conquest, but again, everything's been conquered at that point. So if he did take over, the reason why he can't is it because he would have immediately lost grace again, because he wouldn't have had a purpose. I guess we're just tarnished like him, so maybe not.
Um, well, we're tarnished being led by America. I think the Greater Will is the one that abandoned Godfrey, because that was pre-shattering.
Hmm. Oh, true. Yeah.
I think the Greater Will, I mean, when I say America seeked out the strongest warrior of the Badlands, I think more accurately, probably, the Greater Will brought the warrior of the Badlands to America,
Yeah.
and I was like, marry this guy.
Yeah. If your theory about the greater will being around much longer with the I say it's like your theory, but it's the intro cutscene saying the abandonment
Think
happened
this is
much
when the
later.
Greater Will left.
Uh, if that is true, then it would make a lot. more sense of, right, it could be America had got to godhood and then lost way more of her agency than we originally thought. And it wasn't until the shattering, or at least, probably with, well, Radagon really likes the greater will, so I'm not sure about that. But it wasn't until like the shattering when she was really able to be her own person again. She really might have been a prisoner all those years, and a lot of the things where it says in America's own words, it might have been the greater will speaking through her to some degree, or at least influencing her.
Even if, hmm, hmm. I think maybe America was just like super wrapped up in the movement. I think she might have always had free will. I just think up until potentially even up until Godwin dying, she was convinced that the greater will was the proper way.
Mm-hmm.
It's like even she was in denial when the Erdtree started dulling, but the greater will was still around. That she was like, we have to dive into our intelligence with more than just our faith. Even if it was the greater will leading her to that conclusion in some ways,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's what she genuinely wanted.
Yeah, I think that's also a good thing. It's a very human thing of getting wrapped up in it, and going way too far in the cycle of violence and everything. And I do really love that story of the her slowly coming around and realizing that this hasn't been right, and somewhat secretly trying to set up the the whole Hugh uh, setup is so great.
Well, Hugh may have even been just post shattering. I think America didn't have any plans of betraying the Girder Will, but and also in the story trailer, Rani does the narration for it, and she's the one that actually says Godwin dying pushed America over the edge.
Hmm.
And I guess that could be like an unreliable narrator, but I mean it's Ronnie, like one of
Yeah.
the most well-informed characters in the lands between, so it's possible also that she's just right.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like it was a build-up probably of like, man, maybe things aren't working out the way they should have. And then Godwin was just the last straw
Yeah.
that finally, like, yeah, her one good son, the only one good son. Not an
Yeah.
omen, not cursed. The one good son dies, and it causes the Elden Ring to break. Which also makes sense if we consider the fact that Ronnie killed Godwin, and her motivation was probably quite literally, I need Marika to break the Elden Ring so that I can ascend
Mm-hmm.
and change the order. Because if there's one thing we know about all of Marika's kids, except for Morgott and Godwin, it's that they're willing to sacrifice any piece on the board for their own gain.
Mm-hmm. I'm so interested now of what Radon was doing fighting Morgott in the opening trailer.
If I had to guess, I think Radon probably tried to take Lando when the Shattering began.
I guess he does get called a willful traitor.
Yeah, I think absolutely. As soon as Radon heard there was a big war going on, he was like, I'm gonna go take strongest city in the lands between to prove my might and to prove the might of my knights.
Okay, yeah,
And
that makes a
Morgott,
lot of sense. Yeah,
and, yeah, and Morgott
the home of my
impaled him.
the home of my two favorite people. Radon, mightiest demigod of the Shattering after his training montage after losing to Morgott.
Yeah, mighty. Yeah, it, I mean, Morgott was not even like nobody even knew who Morgott was. That was just Margit. I was like, oh, Morgott sent Margit out again. That means there's something real going down.
Yeah, yeah. The picture, he doesn't even unsheath his cane sword.
No, so he can't take the sword out, or people will know that he's a omen. That he's cursed omen blood.
Mm-hmm.
He uses the club under his pseudonym because it's like I think anytime Margit comes out, it's basically like Morgott makes a big show of like because he's the veiled monarch. He's just like, I shall summon the greatest warrior we have. And then he comes out from behind the curtain with his
Yeah.
cane, and everybody's like, "Oh, filthy omen! We hate this guy, but at least he's pretty good in a fight."
Well, I'm sure the veiled monarch knows what he's doing.
Yeah, like I'm sure Morgott knows. He's the blood of Queen America. He's gotta know. Yeah, no, I think 100%. I think I still like the DLC. I think has completely changed everything in the way that I see Radon.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
Radon went from like a super sympathetic animal lover demigod just chilling in the desert to I think he was a conqueror. I think he believed strength above all else, and I think that basically any opportunity to prove his might he took.
Yeah.
Whether or not he actually became consort to Mikola because of love or because of simply the opportunity to go to war against everyone,
Mm-hmm.
I guess we'll never know. But it wouldn't surprise me if it was the latter, because he just revered Godfrey that much.
Yeah.
Imagine that, though. Imagine being Radagon and having a son, and then your son grows up, and he's like, Dad, I sure do like your ex-wife's ex-husband a whole lot more than I like you.
Yeah. I'm not really familiar with George R. R. Martin and Game of Thrones, but from uh, you and Carl talking in the call about the various family dynamics that he usually gets up to, and knowing he did a lot of the Shattering era stuff, it makes a lot of sense.
What an amazing way to describe that. The family dynamics stuff he gets up to. Spoken like an 85-year-old woman at a retirement home.
Yeah.
Yeah, Game of Thrones was full of stuff like that because it's based on, it's inspired by like real
Oh
monarchs
yeah,
and
like the whole
yeah,
Spanish
yeah, the old we have to keep the
royalty.
bloodline pure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, makes a really weird conversation topic if you try to talk to someone who's not super adept in like what goes on in all these games.
Yeah.
Dang it, Torrent. Torrent like immediately died as soon as I summoned him.
Oh, I should have put a torrent of life in the raw ruins and everything on the thing. I love those pictures where it's like all the characters in Elden Ring, and it's like you and your relation, and it's like, oh, you're Radagon, and this is your ex-wife, and your 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 other ex-wife, and your husband, and your daughter, and your daughter's your your daughter's boyfriend, and your son's killer, and like half of them are the same person.
Yeah. This is your ex-wife. This is you and your ex-wife's son. And this is your son with your current wife. And this is your current wife's son's consort. What a mess. Yeah, thanks, George.
Thanks, George.
I mean, to be fair, on a purely like themes basis, from what I understand, if anything, Berserk may actually be worse.
Oh goodness.
I've heard, I haven't read any of it, but I've heard that Berserk is like a literally like no holds barred, everything gets gotten into sort of story,
Mm, yeah,
which makes me scared to read it, which is why I haven't
I
actually,
would
because
I
I'm
would be
like, goodness,
scared too as well.
well, like I'm like, if the themes in this game are just inspired from it, and everybody's like, Berserk is potentially the most mature manga ever made. I think it's a manga. I don't know if there's like different types when they're super long.
Yeah, I'm not very familiar with it either. I just watched like 4 anime with Nick 4 years ago.
My favorite anime is Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yes.
Oh, the Crimson Burst Dried Tear? Steadily restores HP of nearby allies. Oh, that's neat.
Oh Sam. Wait, where's that?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's the furnace golem at the camp in front of the Black Keep.
Ah, okay.
It has no effect on the imbiber, so it's literally perfect for you. You handicap yourself and you heal whoever summons you to fight Elden Beast for the 9,000th time. Did I ever tell you about the times where I was summoning for Elden Beast?
I remember a little bit, but I don't remember the specifics.
I did it for a while because I was like, I can help out with this. I'm pretty good at this game. And a lot of it was just the player would die in 2 hits to Radagon and we never saw it. And a lot of it was we had phantoms that would come in and die to Elden Beast. And then I would die sometimes and all this. But I got this one just completely unhinged guy who came in, no armor on, buffs like 10 times and uses Howl of Shabriri and then goes in. And then just like no hits the entire fight. We
Oh my
killed the
gosh.
Elden Beast in like a record time.
Oh man.
It was like seeing a legend happen, like unfold right before my eyes.
That's great.
Cause do you know everything Howl of Shabriri does?
I do not know.
It raises your damage by a lot, but it also makes you take like 35% more damage from everything.
Oh man.
And this guy was running in with no armor. Howl of Shabriri. It also raises enemy aggro on you.
Oh, that's good.
Absolutely different. A lad of different build.
Yeah.
I went from being like, oh, all these other phantoms dying in the fight before we even get there. Like I'm staying alive until the end, and then this guy comes in, and it's very humbling, you know.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm pretty good at Elden Beast. I think I can help some people out.
Well, thanks a lot for helping me sort through my big mess of stuff here in the voice chat.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm here for. I mean, more or less. I wonder if the big dragon, Charo, presumably, you know,
Mm-hmm.
do you think Grand Sax killed Charo?
That would make sense.